Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a video with Emily here joining me today, and she came to see me a few years ago now, and I'm just going to do some questions with her so that you can see her journey and how hypnotherapy helped her with the things that she came to see me about. So thank you, Emily, for coming and joining me today. It's lovely to see you again after these years. So let's just get started in answering some of these questions. So before you came to see me, what were the issues that you had?
So I had a phobia of cats, dogs and wasps, and it was a phobia that was 29 years long, so I was very good at it. Very, very good. It kind of got to the point where it was having a massive effect on my self-esteem. I was a single mother, had a little girl, and I couldn't take her to the park in fear of a wasp being outside, coming across a dog on the walk up to the park, and it was really, really setting me into quite a deep depression. And yeah, so I thought, it's time to do something for my daughter, really.
So you were unable to take your daughter to the park because of this fear that either one of those three things would get you or your daughter, I imagine.
Yeah, well, I wasn't worried about my daughter because I knew it was all irrational. But it would have been, if I was pushing the pram and a wasp came, I would have let go of the pram to run. Right. It was a complete safety thing. I was managing to get through like daily things like going to the shops, going to work, but my anxiety would be at a 10 on the thought of even leaving the house. Right. So I would be like perspiring, short of breath. I used to have a lot of panic attacks. I'd be shaking, and that would be just to get to the car to be able to get to work. It was very, very bad.
Okay, yeah, so it was affecting your life in every kind of single way, really.
Yeah.
Okay, and you had it for 29 years, did you say?
Yeah, 29 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
It's a very long time, and I was very well practiced at it.
Yes, I do remember you were easily able to reproduce the feeling just by thinking of a dog or a cat or a wasp. Had you tried anything to fix it before coming to see me?
Yes, so I had psychotherapy when I think I was 13.
Right.
And they tried lots of different techniques. It helped very temporarily, but not to the point where I could, it would be a case of I could, walk in a street with a dog. But that lasted probably all of 3 weeks. And then that was it. It was back to the beginning again. I've had counselling, aversion therapy. I've had a lot.
None of it worked?
No, not for me, no.
Okay, and what would happen if you came across a dog or a cat or a wasp in the street? You mentioned obviously if you were with your daughter you'd kind of run away, but if you were just by yourself, what would you do?
So if it was a dog or a cat, I would cross the road. I would get chest pains, and I would just sweat. I would go into a complete sweat. My breathing would start getting very erratic, but it's the chest pains that scared me a lot.
Physical pain?
It was a physical pain. It really, really hurt, and it was quite scary.
I seem to remember you were worried about garden gates, is that right?
Yeah, it literally affected every part of my life. So walking in the street, I would always have to walk on the outside of a pavement, just in case someone opened their front door and a dog came running out, or if there was a bush in their front garden, a wasp might be in there. So like anyone who I walked with, so walking to work with my brother and walking home from work with my mum, they always knew, and I'm friends and that, they would always know I had to be on the outside. So if we crossed the road, we'd always have to do a switch, so I was on the outside. Otherwise I would start panicking. And it was embarrassing, to be honest. It was quite embarrassing.
And what kind of made you kind of think that you needed to get this sorted? You'd come to your tether. What was that kind of thing that made you decide now is the time to fix it?
My daughter. I didn't want her to grow up and feel like this.
Yeah. No, that's a good a reason as any, isn't it?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on hypnosis and hypnotherapy before you came to see me?
No offense, but I actually have a degree in psychology. I don't personally believe in hypnotherapy, or didn't believe in hypnotherapy. I just thought it was all, a load of people on the stage and they're all pretending to walk around like chickens and, and stuff like that. So I never really believed in it. It was my auntie. We'd gone out for my dad's 60th birthday meal, and she was talking about, she had a phobia of dentists and going to the dentist, but she had a really bad tooth. And she was talking about having hypnotherapy, and she'd had hypnotherapy, and she went and had this root canal or something, and she said it worked. And she obviously knew, my history with animals, and she was just like, you really, really have to try it. And I'd run out of options, and I thought, you know what, because it is pricey, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. I've got no other option at the moment, so I gave it a go.
It is unfortunate that most of the time when people come to see me, it's the last resort sometimes.
Yeah,
you're right, it's not cheap, but it does get results, as obviously we're going to get to in a second. So how would you kind of describe your entire experience with working with me?
wow. Well, it was weird. No offense. So I told you when I got there, it's not something I believe in myself. And you got like a piece of string or something, and you had like a little pendant on the end. You were like, oh, I'm just going to test to see if, your subconscious mind or something can hear me and is listening to me. And I was like, okay, And then you held it above my hand, and you were like, oh no, I held it above your hand. And you said, oh, you just hold it still. That's all you need to do is just concentrate, ignore everything I'm saying, and just concentrate on keeping that pendant still. And I was like, easy. So I sat there and I was holding it, and you were saying, oh, move it side to side. And I was just like, yeah. I was watching it, holding it still, and it started moving side to side. And I was like, maybe it's a trick, like maybe it's my pulse going down the string that's making it do that. And you knew it would do that, and I didn't. So wow, and then you were like, make it go round in a circle. And then it started going round, and I was sat there holding it, staring at this pendant, going, stay still. And it was just going round in a circle, and I couldn't believe it. You'd sold me at that, to be honest. That was incredible.
Yeah, it's something I often do initially, not so much over Skype or video chat. It's a bit more difficult to do that, but if it's one-to-one, then we kind of get a pendant, hold it still, or I ask you to hold it still, and then I ask your subconscious to start moving it whilst you're trying to keep it still, and it shows you that something different is going on. It's not just me talking to you, that little micro movements, that's all it is really, but it's at a deeper level. It's in your subconscious and you're not really aware of them, and it just shows you that as you remember, it moved quite a bit and going around.
Yeah.
And it just shows you that this is something different. So do you remember anything else apart from kind of that little bit?
I remember you were telling me to go into like a different room in my head, and you kept saying, go into this room and look, like get an object or something, and we just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then that's when you started, if I remember rightly, because it was 3 years ago now, that's when you started like talking to me properly about everything. Was after we'd gone right into the rooms and stuff, and then at the end, did we go up into space as well, like up into the corner of the room?
We would have done a technique where we moved the feeling that you had.
That was it. Yeah.
Basically, we made the feeling move in your body out, and we threw that feeling into space. That would have been what we did. Yeah. So how was that change for you in that initial session? Did you feel the change there and then, or was it later on that you realized that something had changed?
There and then, because it was the pain, because you were like, think of a dog or a wasp or something, and then I had that physical pain, and you were like, okay, so take that and then move it here, and then move it around your body. And then after we threw it into space, you said to me, right, think of a wasp again, have you got that pain? Or think of a dog, have you got that pain? And that pain wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it was that initial session where, it did have an effect immediately.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that can change so quickly. Something that you were so easily able to get that pain, that fear, to then not being able to get it at all within minutes. It can be that powerful.
It was even to the point where if I heard some keys, I would get the pain because I'd think it was a dog lead. It was, little things like that. And that pain was just gone after that. So
since the session, it has been about 3 years, which is in a good way, really, because it shows that, like some of the other stuff you did, which was temporary, this isn't. This has lasted. It's lasted all this long. So what kind of things have you been able to do since the session that you couldn't imagine doing before, or couldn't even physically do before?
Well, it was funny because you said to me during the session at the end, you did say, because everything you do is pure habit, that you might not notice the changes straight away because it's habit to you. And I walked out of the session. It was in the winter, wasn't it? So it was quite dark. And I was walking across to my car, and there was a dog on a lead. And I saw the dog, and I just went, in my head, oh, there's a dog. And then I was just like, huh? Like, where's the pain? Like, I didn't cross the road. All I said in my head was, oh, there's a dog. And that was weird. That was a very strange thing for me. But yeah, it was literally like, I think it was a week before I noticed that, like, I was walking and my brother was walking with me, and he's like, oh, sorry, we forgot to swap sides. And I was like, oh yeah, like, I didn't even notice, and I'd been walking like half the way, on the inside of the pavement, and it'd been about a week of doing that, without even knowing. It was just really, really strange. And then it just kept building up, really. So over the last 3 years, I've really been working on it. Like my self-esteem and everything had really been affected, and I've always felt like a certain type of person, but never been able. I've always explained myself as a bit of a hippie who's afraid of the outdoors, and I've never been able to be myself because I've been afraid of everything. But last year I went wild camping, and I absolutely loved it. And there was no wasp, but I went with a dog, and I've always wanted to do archery since about the age of 15. And I not indoor archery, but proper outdoor archery. And never done that because I was afraid of wasps and being outside and dogs and stuff. And yeah, I've started up. I've been doing archery for about a year now, and I do field archery up in Blackdown Hills, and I spend most of my time outside. Oh. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, and you recently sent me a more recent update. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen and show everyone what you sent me. And this is a picture you sent me. Here we go. And this is the picture you sent me. Just explain what this is.
This is my lovely, lovely doggie called Ella. my 2-year-old lab, who I got at the beginning of this year
And
to
this is
join my
this is
family.
your dog.
My doggy, yeah.
Your life has pretty much changed completely now.
Completely. And my daughter's life, because she had caught on to my fears. And when we were out and about, if my mum used to have Isla, the daughter, it's very confusing, Isla and Ella. She used to have her on a Tuesday, and they'd be walking down the street, and if there was a dog, my daughter would be screaming, trying to climb up my mum's leg. My daughter's 5 now, and it took about a month of those two being together, and you can't separate them now. They're best of friends. And with cats as well, we're both fine. And it's, yeah, but Ella's asleep right now next to me.
Oh, look at that.
We've been for a lovely long walk, and that's another thing, is like, she's got, you have to walk a dog, so I'm outside all the time, and it's really, really changed my life, really has, and I cannot thank you enough. I really can.
It's brilliant to hear. That's why I do it. And your story is one of the ones that does stick in my mind quite a lot, because it did have such an impact for you and your daughter's life, and now your whole family's life, because you've got this dog. The enjoyment of a dog for a family is amazing. And if I had told you when you came to see me that this would now be your life, what would you have said to me, do you think?
I probably would have laughed at you. I probably would have said, I'm 29 years into this, I'm too good at this, you can't sort it for me.
But we did.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone that is maybe perhaps in a similar position as you, with maybe a phobia or anxiety, and is in the point of their life that they really need to get it sorted? What would you say to that person? Or what would you say to the old you?
I would say I wish I tried hypnotherapy years ago, and it is a lot of money, but it is worth it, because for me, it's given me my life, and it's opened up the doors for my daughter. It is life changing. I wish I'd done it years ago. It shouldn't be a last resort. It should be, your first go-to. It's been life changing, really has.
Brilliant. So yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. That's really, really good. Anything else you wanted to say before we finish?
Thank you.
You're welcome.